Okay, we are back and we are going to talk about the rest of the section on water in the atmosphere. And these are pages 57 to 60, and these focus predominantly on clouds. And this first part here talks about how clouds form. It says, when you look at a cloud, you are seeing millions of tiny water droplets or ice crystals. The clouds form when the water vapor in the air that we've talked about evaporating, when that water vapor rises into the atmosphere, it cools, and then it condenses to form liquid water or ice crystals. Molecules of water vapor in the air become liquid in the process of condensation. Well, how does water in the atmosphere condense? Well, you need two conditions first. You need the cooling of the air and the presence of particles in the air. What does that mean? Well, let's talk about it. The role of cooling. As you have learned, cold air holds less water vapor than warm air. As the air cools, the amount of water vapor it can hold decreases. The water vapor that is in the air then will condense into tiny droplets of water or ice crystals. The temperature at which that condensation begins is called the dew point. Now, if the dew point is above freezing, the water vapor will form droplets, but if it's below, it will change directly, the water vapor may change directly into ice crystals. Excuse me. But you can't just have that happen like out of thin air. You actually need something for the liquid to condense upon. You need a particle, and that's what the role of particles is here. It says, but something else besides a change in temperature is needed for cloud formation. For water vapor to condense, tiny particles must be present so that the water has a surface on which to condense. In cloud formation, most of these particles are salt crystals, dust from soil, and smoke. They sort of linger in the upper atmosphere. Water vapor also condenses onto solid surfaces on the ground, such as blades of grass or window panes. Liquid water that condenses from the air onto a cooler surface on the ground is called dew. Ice that has been deposited onto a surface that is below freezing is called frost. So if you've ever come out to your car or something in the morning and you know it didn't rain, but everything looks wet, that is usually because it has been pretty cold at night. And when the temperature drops, that water vapor that was in the air when the air was warmer was no longer able to stay in the air, and it condenses upon the grass or car windows or things like that. Types of clouds. Clouds come in many different shapes, as shown in figure 17. Scientists classify clouds into three main types. Based on their shape, we have cirrus, cumulus, and stratus. Clouds are further classified by their altitude, or how high they are in the atmosphere. Each type of cloud then is associated with a different type of weather. The first type of cloud we're going to talk about here is these cirrus clouds, and you can see the picture of them here. Wispy, feathery clouds are known as cirrus clouds. Cirrus comes from a word meaning a curl of hair. Cirrus clouds form only at high altitudes above about 6 kilometers, where temperatures are very low. As a result, cirrus clouds are made of ice crystals. Cirrus clouds have a feathery hooked end, which are sometimes called mare's tail. They look a little bit like the end of a horse's tail. That's what a mare is, a horse. Cirrocumulus clouds, which look like rows of cotton balls, often indicate that a storm is on its way. And I will show you guys clouds that look like that. The rows of cirrocumulus clouds look like they are scales on a fish, and sometimes for that reason, the term mackerel sky is used to describe a sky full of cirrocumulus clouds, because a mackerel is a type of fish. Now, cumulus clouds are the types of clouds that we all sort of think of when we think of clouds. They're the ones that, like, you name the shapes after in the sky on a nice summer day. Clouds that look like fluffy, rounded piles of cotton are called cumulus clouds. The word cumulus means heap or mass in Latin. Cumulus clouds form less than 2 kilometers above the ground, but they may grow in size and height until they extend upward as much as 18 kilometers. Cumulus clouds that are not very tall usually indicate fair weather. So these guys look like fair weather, nice weather. However, these clouds, which are common on sunny days, are called fair weather cumulus. But the towering clouds with flat tops, and they're often dark on the bottom, by the way, are called cumulonimbus clouds. They often produce the thunderstorms because the suffix nimbus means rain. So if you ever see a cloud type with the word nimbus or nimbo, it usually means it's associated with some form of rain. And then the third main type of cloud is called the stratus cloud. And these are clouds that form in flat layers. They're called stratus clouds. Recall that strato means spread out. So stratus clouds cover most or all of the sky, and they're sort of a uniform, dull gray color. Sort of those types of clouds that you might see for days in a row and, just have gloomy kind of weather is the way I think about it. As stratus clouds thicken, they may produce drizzle, rain, or snow, and they're also called nimbostratus clouds. Okay? On the next page, you have this diagram here where you can see You have these the altitudes listed here on the right in terms of kilometers, and you have different types of clouds. So you'll see near the ground here you have fog. A fog is essentially a cloud on the ground, and then our lowest level are stratus and nimbostratus clouds. If you have a layered cloud that sort of covers the sky, but it's not super gray, that might be a regular stratus, and those gray ones that produce rain or drizzle would be a nimbostratus. And then our little naming clouds, our puffy heaping clouds, would be the cumulus clouds. And they are like, again, about 2 kilometers. But then if you see them beginning to form these big piling, massive, towering type clouds that can go all the way really up to 18 kilometers are our cumulonimbus clouds. These are our alto stratus. Alto just means high. So these are our high stratus clouds. And then alto cumulus, these are higher than our regular cumulus clouds. But they are sort of that puffy row. And then cirro cumulus, again, cirro, meaning they're made with ice crystals, right? And then also look a little cumulus, and then our just straight cirrus clouds are there. Okay. Alto cumulus and alto stratus. Part of a cloud's name may be based on its height. The names of clouds that form between 2 and 6 kilometers above Earth's surface have the prefix alto, which means high. The two main types of these clouds are alto cumulus and alto stratus, which we just saw on the previous page. These are middle level clouds that are higher than regular cumulus and stratus clouds, but lower than cirrus and other high clouds. And then, as we said, fog. Clouds that form at or near the ground are called fog. Fog often forms when the ground cools at night after a warm, humid day. The ground cools the air just above the ground to the air's dew point. The next day of the morning sun sort of burns off that fog as the water droplets evaporate, and fog is more common in areas near bodies of water or low-lying marshy areas. In mountainous areas, fogs can form as warm, moist air moves up the mountain slopes and cools. If you've ever driven through the mountain, you sometimes see the clouds circling the tops of the mountain. So that's it for this section. I hope that helped, and I will create videos for all the other sections.